Everyone. Thanks for joining today. Apologies for the delay. There was some technical glitch in connecting to the stream. Without further ado, and again, welcome everyone for this month's certification preparation series. And I believe last one was very helpful for most of you. And this time we have AB 730, which is AI Business Professional. And without further delay, what I'll do is I'll pass it to Anita, and I'll take over let her to take over the stage. Anita, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeevan. Thank you, Tamil Nadu Power Platform Group, for hosting me in this session. I hope you are all doing good. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are joining. Welcome to the session of AB 730, the certification preparation. So the last session was about the AB 900, where I gave a walkthrough and some hands-on on the fundamentals of the Copilot. So this preparation series, this certification preparation series will be mostly on a theoretical basis. The reason being, when I attended the exam, I felt most of the theory, whatever I have prepared from the Microsoft Learn, that helped me in clearing and understanding the main concepts in the exam. So without further delay, let me go to the next screen. So a quick intro about me, myself, Anita Ishwaran. I am a MCT and my MVP, and my LinkedIn details are given below. I have already given an intro about me in the previous session, or maybe you are familiar with me, where I have regularly posting the LinkedIn updates. So if you want to follow me, you can follow in my LinkedIn page, and also you can subscribe to my newsletter. So a quick agenda. So let us explore about the Microsoft Learn Study Guide and what are all the Microsoft Copilot end agents, and how the generative AI features and the principle, and the research agent, and the analyst agent. So if you see, whenever you are preparing for any exam, first you need to go to the study guide, where you will be able to understand what are all the skills measured and what is the audience profile Microsoft is expecting when you are attending or preparing for the particular exam. So in this case, just you can go to your browser and do AP 730 Microsoft Learn, where you will end up with the first two hits will be about the Microsoft Learn links. So if you click on the study guide, you will be able to see what are all the skills measured, what is the audience profile, and from what is the percentage of questions you will be expecting from each topic. For instance, here from the generative AI fundamentals, the skills measured will be of 25 to 30%. So what are all the concepts you need to understand? And also about how to manage the prompts and conversation, where you will be getting 35 to 40%. So all this you will be able, before preparing for any exam, I usually advise the audience to get the idea of the study guide. And the next link will be the main courseware, where the Microsoft would have given you the entire course and the topics for your preparation. Here you will be able to see what are all the modules covered in each and every topic. So this would help you to prepare for the exam, and at the end of each module you will also have a knowledge check. So I think you are all familiar with these checks, but since if you are a beginner or if you are giving the exam for the first time, I am just sharing the tips with you. Now over to the our slide. Let us explore what is Microsoft 365 Copilot. So last session, we spoke more about Microsoft 365, the fundamentals of this Copilot, but let us deep dive of what is Microsoft 365 Copilot. So it is a generative AI powered assistant. So what do you mean by that? It is directly embedded into the apps. Like for example, you are using the apps like the Word, Excel, all the Microsoft Office apps like PowerPoint or Outlook or Teams. It is directly embedded, so which acts as a generative AI assistant for you. It is, what do you mean by authorized data for the user? I mean, since the Copilot is working inside your Microsoft 365 tenant, it means that it can only use the data where the sign-in user is already having the permission to access. It will not bring you nothing more or nothing less. So this is the phrase which I have already quoted in my previous session as well. Nothing more or nothing less, which means the signed-in user, whatever permission he has access to, he will be able to bring only that related content will be taken by the Microsoft Copilot. And it is not a single or standalone app, but it is a collection of the intelligent capabilities which is directly built into the 365 Microsoft 365 application. So what are the applications here? As I already mentioned, it is Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and the Teams. So what are all these capabilities? I have told you what are all these intelligent capabilities. So what are they? They are Microsoft Graph, large language models, we call it as LLM in short, and then orchestration services. So now let us explore something about these capabilities. So if you see the Microsoft Graph, this is the backbone of the Microsoft Copilot intelligence. I mean, it acts as a unified data layer. If you remember, I have given you an example of a gist of what are all the layers we have in the Microsoft 365 Copilot ecosystem in my previous session. So it is a unified data layer. We call it, this sits in the unified data layer where it connects the information from a different 365 services. What are these services? Like instance, from the email or from the files or from the chat into a single secure framework. So what happens when, what are all the features is it utilizing this Microsoft Graph? It will use a data aggregation. For instance, you are seeing this Microsoft 365 services in the screen, right? It will pull the data from the relevant Microsoft 365 services. For instance, if you're prompting to get the details of or summarize the team meeting, the particular team meeting, the summary, then it will go to the respective team's chat and then it will get the details for us. Also, it will get the relationship mapping, where it will get the models, the relationship between the people or the files and the activities. So obviously it will know who did what, when and how. So it is like, because it is able to access that 365 services and a dynamics context. For instance, if you are giving the prompt to the chat, Microsoft chat, then it will filter the information based on what the user is currently doing and what permission they have to access. So it will not bring everything. It will analyze what permission that particular user has and get the relevant information for them. Then it will also follow the security and the compliance. Like you have this enterprise grade security, which enforces the RBAC, the role based access control, and the sensitivity labels. Then it will have some conditional access policies. So these are all the features which Microsoft Graph utilizes. Next is LLMs. So this I have, because this is a reasoning engine behind the Copilot. Like see, when you can compare Microsoft Graph is providing the data and the context, so it will get the data, but it is the LLM which interprets the prompt, okay, and it generates the natural human-like responses here. So these are all happening behind the screen. So if you gives up the prompt, the prompts are actually, they're all grounded with the data from Graph. Grounded means it will apply all those filters. It will bring whether this particular user has permission to access this particular file, or whether he has access to the SharePoint access. All this it will be filtered through the system rules before it reaching the LLM. So based on the user's grounded prompt, what the LLM does is it will generate a response that balances the user intent. So what do you mean by the intent? With the enterprise guardrail. So what the user is expecting to fetch the response for him. So with the end, along with that, it will bring the enterprise guardrails. So what is guardrails here? Guardrails is like applying the respective the security compliances, and then it will bring you the output, which are context aware and compliant. So on top of it, the features what the LLM is having is the isolation and security, and it is scalable. For instance, the Azure hosted LLMs are designed to perform that consistently without sacrificing the speed or accuracy, even across the large organization. So even if the multiple users are prompting at the same time, this is able to perform consistently. So it will be able to scale by itself. The next is the orchestration services. So when a user submits the response, okay, the orchestration service will evaluate. So if you remember, I told you this is not a single set of tools. Like this, they all together work together. Orchestration, LLMs, and graph, they all work together to get the proper response for the particular prompt. So when a user submits the response, what this orchestration service does, it will evaluate it and it will create a grounded version. It will give the grounded version for the LLMs to process the steps, like it will capture the user's input, and it will determine which data source or plugin is needed. For instance, you are asking to get the summary of a particular email. So, or what are all the emails I need to focus on priority today as soon as you log in. So, in that case, it has to go to the Outlook and get the respected to fulfill the request for you, correct? So, it will evaluate and it will enrich the data. I need to enrich the request with more and more context by pulling the relevant data from Teams, also from the SharePoint or any other sources. At last, what it does, it will send the grounded prompt to the LLM, which generates the natural language output. So it also makes sure it formats the response for the delivery in the app. So these are all working together in the Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot, when a user prompt is given. So now, what are the agents? You will ask how this Copilot and the agents are related. So that I will tell you in the next slide. So what are agents? So agents are the intelligent AI tools, the software tool in the Microsoft 365 that helps the user to work more efficiently, which means that they can automate the routine task. Okay, you can schedule a prompt for your regular routine, and it can answer the question, and it can provide the personalized recommendation also for the particular user. Also, the agent can learn from the user behavior. So if it can, for instance, regularly you are asking, hey, can you do like this? So it will have that memory to capture the user behavior, and it will adapt to the individual needs, and it will simplify the everyday work. So as soon as I open the Copilot chat, it can understand what is the regular input I usually ask. For instance, if I am regularly asking, hey, summarize this particular so and so, blah blah blah, or rephrase it, so that will be able to learn from the user's behavior. So what are all the types of agents we have? We have a pre-built agent and the advanced agent. So pre-built agent means which the Microsoft where the Microsoft has approved it. And for instance, you have a SharePoint agent, right? Or you have a ready-made agent which are built into the site to analyze the site content, and it provides the tailored insight summaries, and the based on the site data it will give. Also, you have an agent for everyday business users. So you have these many pre-built agents which are approved by the Microsoft. Also, you have advanced agent. For instance, you can create an agent in the Copilot Studio to build a highly customized solution where it can make use of the powerful features like the custom connectors and the generative AI. So what is the difference between the Microsoft 365 and the agents? So as I told, Copilot is a AI assistant built into the Microsoft 365 suite, okay, which uses the LLM graph to create the content and summarize the information, or draft the communication for you, or it analyzes the data based on the user language prompt. Also, it is built into the security protection where it follows the user level. For instance, if the user is not having access to the particular SharePoint path or a folder, it will not bring the data for us. So where it operates under that particular guardrails, we call it as guardrails here. So for instance, Copilot excels at short cycle where it will be like a user-driven task. So it is like a grounded in the work content like email, meetings, and the documents. So on the other hand, agent can be tailored to specific business needs. Like it is also an AI powered system with action, triggers, and the knowledge. So for instance, instead of using a single user permission, agent can be set up with service account or manage identities. So it is important to secure their credentials and limit what they can do. So in essence, agent will excel at performing the repeated and the rule-based task here. So this is the difference between the Copilot and the agents. Of course, so the next question, what it comes to your mind is the licensing model, right? Nothing is like, you need to understand, what is the licensing model. So as I told, Copilot excels at short cycle where it will be like a user driven task. So it is which one would be useful for you, which one would suit you based on your regular usage. So here, if you see the Copilot, you can also go as a monthly per user license, in which goes on a monthly basis or as an yearly basis. So even if you go to the Microsoft site itself, it will give you an option based on based on your usage or the requirement. It will list you the option and its respective the price what you need to pay for each license. For instance, this Copilot chat for free, like it will be available for whoever is having this Microsoft account. So even if you have a organization account, it can be used without having a paid Copilot license. Like, but only thing, you will not have the web. It will only give you the web grounded responses. It will not be, you will be not able to get that Microsoft graph, or there will be no extra Copilot features here. So it is only based on the web grounded response. And Microsoft 365 personal, like mainly for the home users, like for family you can use up to 6 users, or or for an organizer, for the personal it is for 1 user. So it depends. So it based on the personal or family. So here in this case, you will have the in the Office apps, and on top of it, you will have some storage as well. In this case, when you go for the personal one, you will have 1 TB of storage, but it is not connected to the Microsoft Work data, because it is this particular plan doesn't connect to the Microsoft Work data, nor it will not have the SharePoint or the Teams integration as well. But in case of business plan, here you will be able to support up to 300 users, where this is mainly used by the organization. And it is also available in the Office apps, and it is grounded with the Microsoft graph, where you will be able to get this where the Microsoft graph will be able to play a role here when you are giving a prompt. And of course, if you have a Microsoft graph, there will be a core security and the compliance features as well. But only thing, it lacks advanced enterprise tools, like such as Microsoft Purview or the insider risk management. So in case of enterprise plans, what it happens is, you can have it can scale up to thousands of users. This is mainly used for the major organization here. Like also it will have the Copilot usage. It can incur some extra cost as well in case of this particular enterprise plan. And Copilot Studio or Agent, mostly it is available for the business or the enterprise tenants, not for the personal one. But what it can do is, it can integrate with the external connectors or the APIs or the databases here in this case. So how do you plan and deploy the Microsoft Copilot and agents? So maybe it is not necessary only admin has to understand this. Maybe if we have a basic knowledge of how the deployment will be done in the Microsoft Copilot agents, then it will be helpful for you. Like, this control exists in the 2 levels. For instance, you have a tenant-wide control and the granular control. So what do you mean by the tenant-wide control? Means it is global, where you can enable or disable it. Granular control means it is like per app, or per feature, or per group. Like you have a document summarization, or the meeting recaps, or the emailing or drafting. All this can be done here. So if you see what are all the use cases, so of course you will have lots of use cases here. For the Copilot agent use cases, you have Copilot in apps, or you have a Copilot chat. So if it is a Copilot in-app Copilot, like you can use for drafting and the content creation or the presentation here. If you see the Copilot chat, it will search across the apps. Like for instance, it can do a knowledge discovery in the Outlook, Teams, and SharePoint. Of course, it is tied up with the this one, what do you say, the license what you have taken for the particular Copilot option here. Also, you have the researcher agent in this case, and the analyst agent. So researcher agent and analyst agent, I will give a quick walkthrough in the coming slides. And you have the pre-built agent as well, where the pre-built agent will be helpful for instance, it is an, as I told, it is an already approved by the Microsoft, where you have a career coach or a writing coach, where you can ask to rephrase or something, phrase it for you, summarize it for you. So these are all the pre-built agent. On top of that, you have the custom agent as well. So in this session, in these slides, we covered what are all the Microsoft Copilot and the Copilot agents, from understanding the Copilot and till the use cases of the Copilot. Now, the next one is the generative AI. So this is one of the major topic where we will be getting some questions, some or major questions from the important questions from for the exam, where you will be asked about the principles and the features of generative AI. So where you will be given a use case scenario and then identify whether it is a transparency or the fairness. So all this we need to understand. So this is just a theoretical concept, and we need to have some logical thinking to map the use cases for the given question here. What is generative AI? So it enables for the creation of the new contents using the simple prompts. For instance, you can not only create a text, on top of that you can create image or the videos using the simple prompts. It helps the business teams to streamline the work and reduce the repetitive effort. So, for instance, if you're regularly doing some mundane tasks, then in that case, you can use this generative AI to streamline the repetitive work for you. Like you can summarize the meeting and you can plan the outcome, etc. And for instance, if you take a business case scenario, for instance, our marketing team, take a marketing team in a mid-sized company where you are facing tight deadlines, and whereas the repetitive work is like sending an email, like promotional email, or where you are designing the visual for the product launch, or you are summarizing the meeting. So all this, so this can be handled by using this generative AI, where it must also take care of addressing the content concerns around the ethical use, where it should bring only the relevant data and taking care of the security and also alignment with the business goals here. So this is how you can relate the business scenario with of the generative AI here. So how it helps, like as the same topic here, like it will automate the routine creation, content creation, and if you want, it will also give you some creative ideas for the content and visuals. And you have the personalized assistance. For instance, in the Excel, if you want to generate if you want to do a VLOOKUP or something, then you can use it across all the 365 apps, the Microsoft 365 apps. It will have a personalized assistance for you in the Word or the PowerPoint, or if you want to tweak the particular presentation slide as per the professional mode, then you can ask the Copilot or the agent to get it done for you. So this is how the generative AI works. So it also ensures the responsible, secure, and transparent AI principle. What are the AI generative AI principle? It will be in the next coming slides, where you will be able to understand what are the principles the generative Gen AI is following. And also it frees the team. So in this case, since it is taking care of doing the regular task, what does it mean for the team indirectly? So they can focus on the strategy and the high level work here. So, what are all the responsible? How does Gen AI works? So, it is basically operates through the advanced AI models. For instance, it will help using the AI models. It will learn the patterns from the data. So, what these models does? They use the algorithms to process and generate the content for us. So, there are different AI models. So, they have their each unique. Each has the unique capabilities. So, for instance, you have the classification model. They mainly identify and categorize the information. For instance, like you want to sort the incoming emails, like put this email into this particular folder, like, or a spam, or put it this in the promotion folder, or you can set it in the keep this in my inbox, so that and flag it as a high important, because this one has to be taken some action. So this classification model will do that particular task. In case of generative models, so what it does, it will always create a new content based on the learning patterns, like you are drafting a training module or an email response using the Copilot chat. Like you are giving some few points, then it will get a content for you. So what happens in essence, generative AI models, it excels in understanding and processing. If you see, it will understand whatever input we are giving. It can process the human language, correct? So what it enables them to produce the output that is aligning closely with our input. For instance, it is not giving you some irrelevant input output, correct? Whatever the relevant user input, it is going to give you the output that align closely with us. So while there are cases where experts, they can customize these models for the complex tasks, pre-built tools, it will be helpful for the beginners to get a hands on how these tools are working. Then it is up to the experts to add additional features in that. So what you can do with it, of course, just a summary of what can be done. You can create the content using for the blogs or the LinkedIn, anything. Like you can create a content or you can automate the task, and you can also enhance the customer interaction with the natural or the personalized responses. And there is no technical skill required. Anybody can try with this the pre-built agent. So after getting the hands-on, then they can use the template to build their own agent. So this is how you can slowly get hands-on with the Copilot here. Huh. So now, what are all the responsible AI features? So there are 6 principles where you have this responsible AI, and for instance, fairness. So all the users, AI system should not, there is no discrimination. Fairness means no discrimination. Like irrespective of whoever is asking, it should give the correct outcome. Equitable outcome should be given. So where fairness is equal to no discrimination. And the reliability and safety. So it should not give you the harmful content generation. It should not generate the harmful content, or it should not exploit the system. So here it should also have that reliability and safety. And privacy and security, of course, guarding guardrails. So that is the keyword you need to keep here. Safeguarding the user data. For instance, if, as I said, it should not bring the data. Even if the user asks, it should follow the user's permission. What permission does that particular user has, and it should not be able. For instance, you are asking some from the Teams, the SharePoint folder where the user doesn't have access, or where it is secured, or where it is confidential. In that case, then the AI should make sure that it should not bring that particular data. It ensures the compliance with the privacy regulation. So this privacy regulation also will be respected. And the inclusiveness. So there should be no bias. So it should avoid any bias and while presenting in the data. And transparency. So whatever the data it is giving, it is making the AI is processing, it should be understandable and it is accessible to the users. And the accountability. So for instance, if you are holding the developers and the organization, here the developer who has developed that particular agent, he is responsible for all the impacts of the AI system. So these are all the 6 features of the responsible AI. So I have seen the few questions, the I mean, just get an understanding of how this 6, how you can relate in the, I mean, you can logically understand. If you give a use case is given to you in the exam, you can understand whether it falls under the fairness or the reliability or the transparency. So all this we can relate it. So make sure you give some importance to this responsible AI features, the principles, sorry. So what are all the features here? For instance, you have the grounded responses, like it brings the outputs based on the reliable sources. For instance, where it has to cite, it has to do the citation for the transparency as well. And also the content moderation, like it should not, it should usually the filter would prevent the harmful or the inappropriate content. It should not bring some inappropriate content when the user is asking. Though the user is asking some inappropriate question, it doesn't mean that AI has to bring the inappropriate content for him. Also the privacy by design, like the user data is protected. Whatever you are entering, the user is entering, it is protected and it will not be used for the model training. So, and we have this encryption and data isolation also, like the protecting the data at rest and also in transit. And you have this access control, like we need to respect the organization permission and the sensitivity labels. So I have given a brief walkthrough of what are the sensitivity labels and the DLP in the previous session. Maybe you can refer the previous video to get an understanding of what these terms means. So the sensitivity labels, and it has to respect the organization permission as well. And on top of that, it has to be a regional compliance. It ensures that the data processing aligns with the local regulation. Okay, so now we understood like what are all the features and the principle of the responsible AI, but we should also make sure, like we know that AI is assisting in our work, correct? Like it's making more efficient, where even though it is making our work more efficient, it is always better to have a human oversight, because to ensure the outcomes are ethical and secure. correct? So for instance, you need to avoid over reliance, like whatever the feedback or the response we are getting, we need to make sure, we need to review the output to ensure there is no sensitive data has been revealed. For instance, it should not give you, if the user is asking, give me the credit card number from the particular file, though the user has access to that file, ideally it should not bring, because that will be labeled as a secured file, correct? So it should not ideally bring that data for him, because there is a chance the user might not be able to read it, correct? So in that case, we need to make sure it should not be, we need not over rely the outcome of the AI. Also, you need to monitor the AI outputs. For instance, you need to identify the accuracies or the bias in the generated content. Also, the decision validation. So, the ensuring that humans remain, we are the final arbiters, right? In any decision, in any critical decision, humans should be the final arbiters here to identify, to make any decision. Not, we should not leave that to the AI here. And the feedback mechanism, like you are allowing the users to report any concerns. So, for instance, there is an option for feedback, right? So here the user can enter any, they can report the concerns, and this would help to improve the AI system. So it is always better to verify the outcomes. So this is also one of the questions you might encounter in the exam, like what are all the options? Like you will be given few options where you can identify which are is not the which doesn't fall under the avoid overlays topic. So if this is a workflow companion, so you can also call your D365 Copilot as a workflow companion. So as I already said, so Microsoft 365 is an AI-powered assistant, correct? Because it spreads across the Microsoft apps like 365 apps like Word, Excel, Teams, and PowerPoint, correct? It also uses the LLM along with the Microsoft Graph, so which provides the organization data, which helps to retrieve the organization data like emails, documents, and chats. So this combination enables the copilot. So if you see, this is generative AI, this then it enables the copilot to generate the new content. Then it can summarize the meeting and chat, it can analyze the data, and it can automate. So all these together, these components enable the copilot to generate the personalized actions within your workflow. So this is how it works as a workflow companion for you. Okay. So if you see, these are all, I have taken this particular picture from the Microsoft Learn, but I know the window, the screen, the prompt has changed, So here you will be able to understand how this agent, the my Copilot chat is looking. For instance, if you want to start a new chat button, if you want to add the content or agent, if you want to access your new previous chat history, if you want to access the Copilot gallery, then all these are available under one roof in the copilot.microsoft.com. So here you will be able to access all this. So we understood how the copilot is working, how the Gen AI role is there. So you need to understand how do you give the prompt here. So for instance, like context, you should have all these four in your mind. For instance, the context, goal, source, expectation. So what is context? Why do we need this, and who is involved? That is the context. So the goal is, what do you want the copilot to do? So for instance, you are giving some prompt and you are expecting this should be returned by the copilot. So that is called the goal. Source. So from where the copilot should look for the information. For instance, whether it has to look for the Outlook or in the Teams or in the SharePoint folder all together and then get a summary of it. That source also you should be specified. And expectation, and you can expect whether it has to deliver as a bullet point or as a summary or as a presentation slide. So these are all the four major ideas when you do a copilot prompt: context, goal, source, expectation. For instance, I have created a sample prompt, like I am asking the copilot to create a one-page weekly status summary for the leadership team by consolidating inputs from the architecture, development, testing. So this, if you see, I am asking it to use the sync call notes, Teams chat updates, and the latest. This becomes the source. Okay. And also we need to highlight the progress. So if you see, I am telling the co-pilot This is how I need to have my output. So this aligns with my previous four expectations: context, goal, source, expectation. So what is the context here? One page summary. Where is the source? Team chat updates, latest project tracker, prioritizing the recent information. And what is the goal? You want to keep it as like you want to highlight the progress, risk, and blockers. These are all the goals. And if you see what is the expectation, keep the tone professional, crisp, and high level. It should not bring any such jargons. So it should be highly professional. So if you see this particular prompt, it has covered all these four principles here. So this comes as a practice. So if you want to work your Copilot as a companion, workflow companion for you, you need to understand it. You need to give a proper prompt for the Copilot to get you a good response. For instance, these are all the references to the prompt. You can ask it to, you can, if you want to refer a particular file or a folder, you can use it with the slash. If you want to refer a topic or a meeting, you can give a hash. Or if you want to mention a person, then you can mention it as at, where you are, where whether he has given any whether this particular person has included me in that particular email or not, like summarize the feedback from so and so person from the latest draft. All this then we can do. Now, coming to the researcher agent. So this, you need to identify, understand the difference between these two agents, because there also the most of the questions come from this researcher. Some of the questions come from the researcher agent and the analyst agent. What difference does it mean? So researcher agent is also a AI driven assistant in the Copilot, but what it does is it will help you to gather, analyze, summarize the information from both web and the organization documents. This is what the researcher agent does. So it will get the data from both the web and the organization document. So it is, you can think it as a built-in intelligent assistance, because where it can produce a clear structured reports that will be tailored to your question. For instance, it can run a multi-step research across the files and the web sources, or it can produce a summary with the clear structure and the citations, and it can outmatch the outmatches. It will also produce the output that matches your read. All this. So why it matters here? Because it speeds up the decision by turning the scattered information. There are so many information across various sources, correct? So it will turn the scattered information into a concise, reliable report. Like how, like it is like similar to, you are working with a knowledgeable colleague, like a highly knowledgeable colleague who gathers and synthesizes everything for you. It is like that. So it is like it will bring it helps you in speeding up the decision making. So this is where the researcher agent is. And in case of the analyst agent is also a AI driven agent, but in this case it is a data analyst assistant, which will help you to turn the raw organization data into the reports. Like it will produce the report or the clear insights and visuals for you. So usually what it does, it will analyze the organization data from, for instance, from Excel or the database or any cloud storage. It will analyze the organizational data, and it will identify what are all the trends, like what is the trend for which happened before 10 years or 5 years or the last year. It will analyze the trend or the pattern using this advanced reasoning feature, and it will generate the visual summary for us, like a chart or a table, or if you want any structured report, it will generate. Whereas if you see in the researcher agent, it will generate a summary. It doesn't give us a structured report, a visual report, it doesn't. So this is where you see the difference between the researcher agent and the analyst agent. So that, what does it support? So it will help you in the, whereas researcher agent helps you in the decision making, this one, which will help you in the analytical scenario, like demand forecasting, or if there is any customer analysis behavior or the regional sales comparison. So such analytical scenario that will help you to make use of it. For instance, you can even run up to 25 queries per month across the researcher and the analyst agent. So whoever is even having access to the Microsoft Copilot license, they will be able to access it. So what it matters, the analyst agent helps you to move the raw data into a decision-ready insight. So you are asking it to analyze from a different data sources, and it will get you a decision-ready insights. Like you don't need to have any extra additional analytical skill. It is like how research agent is like a knowledgeable colleague. So this is like a data savvy colleague, so which can interpret the numbers or the visuals, and even whatever they mean, they can explain this analyst agent here. I think we have reached the end of the session. If there are any questions, you can let me know, and maybe I can help you with any clarifications on your questions. So my advice on preparing for this particular exam is go through the study guide. There are few questions where the difference between the researcher agent and the analyst agent, like how many questions does and how, what are the licenses we need. So all these few minor topics, they play a major role in cracking this exam. So I advise you to go through the Microsoft Learn, and there are so many videos which are given for AB 730, which would help you to prepare well for the exam. Thank you all for joining the session. If there are any questions, Jeevan, you can let me know. I hope there are no questions. Thank you for joining the session. Or I think Jeevan and his team will be able to share the YouTube video or the recording later. And if you have any questions, you can watch me, you can comment, you can ask me, message me in the LinkedIn, and I will be able to help you. Happy to assist you. Yeah. Happy weekend learning. Thanks all. Have a great weekend. Bye.